What happens when the one person who translated the world for you is suddenly gone? What happens when your whole life is built around one shared language and then the language disappears? Let me tell you about a woman named Rhea. Welcome to the Always On Me podcast, where we know not everyone was born with a mic in their hand or a megaphone in their mouth, but we still have something to say because quiet is still a voice. Welcome to the Always On Me podcast. I'm Antonia, and today I want to tell you about a woman named Rhea. Now, there are times when, I'm here and some YouTube videos will make its way through my timeline. And I am so grateful when I see the ones where kindness is displayed, because I feel like we're living in a world now where, what comes across our timeline is often, either sad or tragic or whatever have you. But I love when I see those feel-good stories about human beings being kind to other human beings. They're not looking at race, color, nothing, right? They're just looking at one fellow human being to the next. Now, Rhea is 55 years old, and for about 9 months, from May 2025 through the winter, she lived in a cemetery in Syracuse, New York. She wasn't passing through. I said she was living there, like that was her residence. She wasn't visiting, right? She was living there. Rhea was sleeping on the ground next to her husband's grave. Before you categorize that as tragedy or instability or inspiration, sit with it for a moment, because if you look closely, you may recognize something in her story. Rhea Holmes had been married to Eddie, her husband, for 26 years. That's not just a relationship. That is shared rhythm, shared shorthand, shared becoming, right? They were saving to buy a home, and after years of planning, their offer was accepted. Sadly, it was on the same day that her husband Eddie died. The same day. When I tell you, when I was watching the video and it got to that part, I was so sad for this lady, because life, man, listen, sometimes sometimes like that sudden shift, right? I couldn't even imagine. But Rhea took the money that they had saved for their future, and she used it to purchase Eddie's burial plot. And she also purchased a bench so that she can sit beside him. That, to me, tells you a lot about the kind of love that they had, right? It's one of those things where, like, when you grow with someone that's like a part of you, right? Over time, grief did what unprocessed grief often does. She lost her job. She was evicted. She didn't go to a shelter, though. She went to the only place that still felt like it belonged to her. She slept beside him in the cemetery. From spring 2025 into this winter, she slept beside him. And she later said, "I assumed I was going to die there." She was not exaggerating. We talk about grief like it's about missing someone. But after a long partnership, grief can also be about losing the version of yourself that existed with them. When you share 26 good years with someone, they don't just know you. They help you make sense of the world. They're your person. I mean, in my case, that he would have been my human crutch, right? They are the person who help you to process things. The one who understands your pauses, your tone, your silence. For quiet people especially, one deep connection can become everything. Not because you lack others, but because you chose depth over breadth. And when that one connection is severed, the silence does not feel peaceful. It feels like static. Have you ever lost someone not necessarily to death. And, you end up feeling like you lost a version of you that existed with them. It has happened to me. It has, right? So for Rhea didn't just lose Eddie. She lost a future that they were building, the story she was living inside of. So the cemetery wasn't irrational. It was the last place that still held her language. Now, here's what struck me. Rhea lived there in that cemetery for 9 months, and almost no one noticed. Not because people are cruel, but because quiet pain is very easy to overlook. If you carry yourself with dignity, if you don't demand attention, if you don't broadcast your suffering, you can disappear in plain sight just like that. Many of us know that feeling, needing something and not knowing how to ask, carrying something enormous and staying quiet about it. There's a particular loneliness in that. Rhea was finally noticed when one officer happened to be in the right place at the right time. One person, one moment of noticing. Officer Jamie Pastorello saw Rhea sleeping in the cold, and he decided he wasn't going to ignore it. He started a crowdfunding campaign for her, connecting her with a nonprofit, and within 20 days, she had a home. 20 days after 9 months of sleeping on the ground. Kindness doesn't always arrive on time, but sometimes it does. And sometimes it takes one person deciding not to look away. Rhea later said that Officer Jamie was an angel. And I feel like what she meant is that he treated her like she mattered, not like she was a problem. He treated her like she was a person, a human being, someone who saw her, right? Now, the question that I have for you is, who saw you when you needed it most? And who might need you to be that person right now? Rhea has a home right now, thank God, thanks to Officer Jamie. She still talks to Eddie, her husband, just more figuratively. She didn't stop loving him. She didn't move on in the shallow way that we use that phrase. But she did learn to carry him forward instead of staying frozen beside him. That's what grief looks like when it begins to move again. Not forgetting, not replacing. Just slowly learning to hold the love in yourself at the same time. Now, I feel as if we go through these things, but this story really struck me because I was thinking, to lose your person on such a joyous occasion where you're going to get your home, like you're building your future, and then just like that, they're gone. It's like, what do you do? Because for me, I just feel like I would be so confused. I've been through my share of loss, both friends and family, and whether it's basically just a relationship that died or someone who literally died. Pain is pain, and sometimes, of course, everyone grieves differently. And when I saw her story, I could not imagine, because to think that Syracuse is cold, by the way. Syracuse, New York is cold in the wintertime. And to think that, that's where she was living for 9 months. For 9 months. I'm grateful to Officer Jamie, and I'm grateful to all of the people who make a difference in this world. I think, some of us we do our best, right? We do our part. But I think sometimes, we do not notice things, whether it's by choice or we're just so caught up in our own thing that we don't notice. But I love seeing these stories because it reminds me that there are good human beings out there. So I just felt like I just wanted to share this story. If you're in a season where you feel invisible, where you're carrying something quietly and the silence feels less like peace and more like erasure, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not unseen here. Quiet is still a voice, and yours matters. We're living in a time where things are so crazy, and sometimes when we're going through things, we don't know who to reach out to because it's hard to trust people these days. But just know that there are places that you can reach out to. There are so many services and organizations that are there to help people when they're going through things, right? And for me, I appreciate YouTube because YouTube is that place that I come to for entertainment. And I'm grateful to see stories, real stories. The world is not just doom and gloom. Unfortunately, that's probably what comes across a lot of our timelines. But the reality of it is there are stories like this one that should be seen, because I feel like when we see good things happening, it kind of like motivates us, right? Because then we realize, okay, all is not lost. And please know that all is not lost. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this episode moved you, please let me know in the comments what stayed with you, right? I will be sure to leave a link to this video in the description so that you can watch it and also be inspired. Be sure to like this video, share with someone who might need it, and subscribe so that you don't miss the next conversation. And if this is your first time here, welcome. This is a quiet space, your quiet space. Please remember to stay muted and stay mighty. See you next time.